As you can see right there, Faye is joining me right now. Hello, Faye, and welcome to the program. Can you hear me, Faye?
Yes, I can. Morning, Nancy.
Hi.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. Thank you for joining us. Let's deal with it quickly. Faye, were you at Qatar a few days ago? If you were, tell me what your experience was in just a few seconds.
Yes, I spent 5 days World Cup in Qatar. I saw four games. It was quite a nice atmosphere, pretty good, enjoyable. I saw the only African team I saw was Ghana versus South Korea, which is a really good match. In general, the atmosphere, it's a different experience of a World Cup. I mean, everybody talked about no alcohol, but to my mind, that actually made the experience a lot better. And then it was also an interesting World Cup in the sense that, unlike, say, World Cups that have been in the United States or Brazil or in much larger countries, you effectively have a World Cup in a city. So imagine having a World Cup in, say, Abuja, and then the
Yeah.
stadiums are scattered around different
Yeah.
parts of it. So there really was only one stadium that was actually quite far to get to,
Wow.
which is the Al Bayt Stadium, where England played USA, which you saw. So that stadium's about an hour away from Doha, central Doha. But beyond that, all the other stadiums can be gotten to within a few minutes, 30 minutes, 5 minutes. You can get on the metro. So it was quite an interesting idea to have a World Cup in a really compact place. And I think from the fan experience on the positive side is that you only need one accommodation. Unlike, say, if you went to a World Cup in Brazil, if you were seeing a game in Rio de Janeiro, you had to book hotels there, and then you had to arrange flights to Sao Paulo and book a different hotel there. But here in Qatar, you needed just one accommodation, and from there you could get to all the stadiums. So it was quite an interesting experience. I enjoyed it very much, and I wish I could have stayed longer. But yeah, that's my summary of it.
I like that you brought in this aspect because I was watching Don Riddell, the CNN sports correspondent, and he did mention what you also did say that the World Cup coming from the metropolis of Qatar, so it made it a bit easier than what it was in Russia from one place to the other. You have to
Hmm.
commute hours.
Yeah.
So I like that you brought in that aspect. But why we're discussing this morning is why is it a big deal for us not to be at the World Cup, Nigeria not being at the World Cup at this time? Uh, a missed opportunity. And secondly, how much of soccer is of commercial value and why we should take this seriously, because Nigeria is also being looked at as a strong footballing nation, and yet we are not at this tournament. Thank God for Morocco at this time still flying the African flag. They might possibly qualify. I hope so, to the next round. So what do you think, very quickly?
Okay, so I think first of all, obviously Nigeria has no God-given rights to be at the World Cup, so I think we can be clear about that. I mean, Italy is not at the World Cup. Italy are the European champions. They are very illustrious nations, if you like, Chile, Paraguay, all of these countries. They're not at the World Cup this year. But I think what is really painful or annoying about Nigeria not being at the World Cup this year is the manner in which it happened. So, you have a coach. First of all, you don't pay the coach. You're owing the coach salaries for months, which is the usual Nigerian behavior. And then as we're approaching the final qualifying games, you take a gamble. And this is the president of the NFF here. Takes a gamble, sacks the coach, and dismisses him without even paying the back salary, blames the coach for all kinds of things. And then he takes a gamble on replacing him with, Augustin Eguavon, who is a Nigerian. We go to the Nations Cup. Initially, Nigeria flatters to deceive. The first game goes quite all right, but as soon as we get to the first knockout game, we get knocked out. And then we have two games against Ghana, which, in all likelihood, I mean, Nigeria was very, very well poised to win. So we win we go to Ghana for the first leg, we draw nil-nil. All we need to do in the second leg at home is to score and prevent Ghana from scoring. But that goes against us. We eventually draw that game 1-1 and Ghana qualifies. But you could see, even in that final game in Abuja, the disorganization, everything was done so much last minute, whereby they were actually bringing in people in buses to the Abuja National Stadium just to have a crowd in the stadium. And then everything, security broke down. And then obviously the fact that Nigeria did not qualify at the end, fans got angry, and there was all kinds of damage. And we're lucky to escape a FIFA punishment. And that. So this time around, it is not as if Nigeria got really beaten on the pitch. Yes, we drew against Ghana away and we drew against them at home. But really, the reason why we are not at the World Cup is happened outside of the pitch. And this is what makes it really annoying, sacking a coach and then you try and hire a new coach, maybe because you think that this guy who has experience in working without salary, nobody has heard of him before, but you bring him in, you don't conclude his contracts in time. The whole thing was just a mess. So I think this is what is painful. So when I was in Qatar, just seeing random people putting on Nigeria's jersey, I just imagine that if Nigeria was at this World Cup, there's already, forget about even Nigerians traveling to Qatar, there's already a built-in support level of support for Nigeria, just goodwill for countries. It says that a lot of it comes from our music. Nigerian music has traveled beyond even where Nigerians have traveled to. So you have people who like Nigerian music and then they just say, oh, I mean, I was everywhere we went, we just see randomly, we just see somebody who is obviously not Nigerian wearing one of Nigeria's jerseys. And it was happening all over and we're seeing them all around Qatar. So if Nigeria had been there, we would have actually obtained quite a lot of latent support in there from, especially from African migrants who work in Qatar or even Nigerians who work there. So it's just a shame. I mean, it's a missed opportunity in the sense that it did not have to be this way. We could have been at the World Cup, but off field, things that happen off the pitch, beyond the players on the pitch, administrative problems, people taking gamble with the country's prospect of getting into the World Cup, and then all of that contributed to us not being there.
Okay.
Beyond the commercial aspect, yes, there's the commercial aspect of football, but beyond that, I think that the benefits of Nigeria in football are political, in the sense that we want to unite this country. We're a country of many tribes, many tongues, many languages, many views. And part of the things that we require as a country to move forward, even economically or politically or whatever, is for us to have agreement on certain things. For us to be able to agree as a people, rising above the things that divide us. And, if you think that we are waiting for a leader who will come and unite Nigeria, well, we might get lucky, it might happen. But I can assure you that football is much easier than waiting for one person to come and do it. Football is almost automatic, it brings us together. We rise above whatever it is that divides us. When the national team does well, we support it. We are Yoruba, we are Igbo, we are Hausa, we are Efik, we are whatever. We support the national team, even if our tribesman is not playing, even if the person who scores the goal is from another tribe. We rise above our differences and we come together as a people when that football is happening. It is
Okay.
very, very difficult to replicate this type of unity, this type of rising above differences in any other thing. It is very, very difficult for a politician to do it. It's very, very difficult for us to do it appealing to each other. But football helps us to do it. So this is something we shouldn't joke with, given
Okay.
that it's what we want as a country. We
Okay.
should take our football very, very seriously because it does a job for us that is very, very difficult to do in any other part of the country or any other aspect of our society.
Okay, Faye, we have about 30 seconds to go. I would need to bring this in. The sports industry policy has been approved and I think even signed by Mr. President. I think so, the last time I heard. What do you think this will do for sports, not just even football, moving ahead, and the lesson for us to learn as we prepare for the 2026 World Cup? Yeah.
2026 World Cup in
Yeah.
the USA,
Yes.
Canada,
Very
and Mexico.
quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think the key thing, obviously, is that there's one thing to write policies on paper, but as we've seen, the people who are charged with implementing this policy, we have to also get those people right. We have to get the right people who are serious about, and we have to make the atmosphere for those people to actually come forward into the NFF. If you have a situation whereby you have to bribe or you have to use thuggery or whatever to win election, then automatically a lot of good people might not come. So it's good to have a policy, but the people who are going to be in that policy is not going to implement itself. The people who are going to be in charge of it are we need to ensure that these are serious people who can take that policy and bring it to life and ensure that we take our football seriously as a gift that we have been given, a tool that can unify the country, that can unite Nigerians in a way that nothing else can do. So the policies are good. I mean, I'll confess I haven't fully read it, but whoever is going to be in charge of that policy, we also have to take that as seriously as writing down the policy on paper.
Okay. Thank you very much, Faye. I guess there's a football match today,
Thank you.
if I'm not mistaken. Argentina and
Yes.
Croatia, is it today? Yes, then Morocco and France should be tomorrow. Yeah, so I'm
Correct.
rooting. I'm
So,
rooting. I'm rooting
yeah.
for Morocco. Definitely, the Messi fans will be rooting for Argentina. But whatever it is, I know that this World Cup has given us fantastic football. I've been so impressed with the kind of outings by the different countries at this World Cup. Thank you very much, Faye, for joining me. Let's talk again soon. All right,
Thanks, Nancy, for having me.
thank you very much, Faye. I've been speaking with Fawehinmi. He is a financial analyst and a business expert. We've been looking at the 2022 Qatar World Cup. It will end in a few days' time. I hope we've learned our lessons. That's the much we can take on today's edition of the program. I am Nancy Naji. Be the best you can be and be that change that you want to see. Bye now.